Hello racing fans, welcome to another episode of the Big Group 1 Racing Show. Today I'm continuing on with my previews from the Ascot Racing Carnival, looking at the second Group 1 of the Carnival, and that is the Winterbottom Stakes. It's going to be a good race. It's got a field of 12. Let's not waste time, let's get stuck into it. So the Group 1 Winterbottom Stakes is a race ran over the 1200 metre distance at the Ascot Racecourse. It will be this Saturday the 26th of November, starting at 5 p.m. local time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time for those living in Victoria, New South Wales and Tasmania. You can watch all the action on Sky Thoroughbred Central and Sky Racing 1. Of course, as I mentioned before, a field of 12 horses. The Darley Classic winner of this year, Mel Agoura, is favourite, $3.50. Terra Vista at $3.75. Rock Magic at $9. Takedown at $10. State Celesta at $11. Shield Deal at $13. At $12 we have Vega Magic. First Among Equals at $23. Keener Ray at $31. Battle Hero at $71, as well as Military Rain. And we also have Regal Commander rounding out the field there on long odds at $151. So now let's have a look at the field in depth. Number 1, we have Terra Vista, who is going to be ridden by Huey Bowman and is coming out of Barrier 5 for this race. Actually had a 251-day spell before returning on Oaks Day to come second over the 1,000 metres at Flemington. Actually came from the second half of the field to come second that day. Its second up form is not too bad, and it is running at the Ascot Racecourse for the first time. But the distance will definitely suit, and it's definitely one of the main chances. Second favourite for the Winterbottom Stakes. Number 2, we have Mel Agoura. Of course, its last win was in the Darley Classic, a Group 1 race on the last day of the Flemington Carnival. It's coming out of Barrier 1 in the Winterbottom Stakes, so it will be on the inside for most of the race. You suggest, of course, Ben Melham is on board. And it's coming to Ascot for the first time in some good form. It's no doubt about that. So, in my opinion, it's the favourite, clearly the favourite, and the one to beat in the Winterbottom Stakes. Number 3, we have Takedown. Tim Clark will be the jockey, and it's coming out of Barrier 8. Its last start, 3 starts back, it won over the 1,200 metre journey at Royal Randwick, I should say. It came 5th last start over the 1,400 metres at Flemington on Oaks Day. It's going to be on speed, you reckon, and the distance should be no problem. So it is its first time at Ascot, but it definitely should be considered. Number 4 is Rock Magic, who has come first in 2 of its last 5, second in the other 3. Its last 2 races have both been at the Ascot Race Course. First 2 starts back, and then its last start second over the 1,100 metre journey. Vega Magic, who is actually in this race, beat it that day. But its last 2 runs have been pretty good, I must say. It did have a good finish to come second last start in that race, coming from the second half of the field. And in my opinion, this is a horse that's it's at $9 and it's actually in with a good shot. I reckon it's going to be up there, definitely in the top 5, and I'm definitely considering it. Number 5 is Keener Ray. Was in some good form in October, but its last 2 starts have been interesting. 4th at Flemington over the 1,200 metres in the Lifflin Go. On a good 3 track. Not too bad of an effort out of the 11 horse field, but 7th last start in the Darley Classic. I kind of expected it to be a bit more competitive then that should settle behind the leaders in this race, but definitely needs to be a lot more competitive, but you can't rule this horse out. Number 6 is First Among Equals, coming out of barrier 9 in this race, came 7th last start and also 10th 2 starts back. A lot of horses who are running in this race was actually running in those 2 races. Look, its form in those last 2 races hasn't been convincing, but it can win at the distance, and we saw that at Belmont Park 4 starts back, where it won the Newmarket over the 1200 metre journey. So it can run at the distance, and it could surprise at odds. It is backed by the punters at $23, but it could surprise. Number 7 is Battle Hero, barrier 10 it's coming out of. Glenn Smith is the jockey, carrying 58 kilos, a similar weight to its last run, where it came 10th over the 1100 metre distance. Was actually beaten by Rock Magic second back, and of course 10th last start, as I mentioned. But tough race for this one, no question about it, and it is at long odds, backed by the punters at $71. I'm prepared to leave out on this occasion. Number 8, we have Vega Magic, coming out of barrier 2. Jake Casey is on board as the jockey, carrying a bit of a larger weight than last start, which it won, but 2 starts back it came 9th, and it was beaten by Rock Magic. It then bounced back last start to actually beat Rock Magic and win the race. It also has beat First Among Equals and also Battle Hero and also a few others in this race. So it's in some okay form, some good form coming into this race. It will be behind the leaders, and I reckon it could challenge. It's definitely one of the chances in this race, possibly a chance to finish top 5 in the Winterbottom. Regal Commander is at number 9. Peter Hall is aboard as the jockey, coming out of barrier 7, has been beaten by several of the horses that are running in this race in its last 2 runs. It is at long odds. It's in fact at the longest odds out of any horse, $151. Yeah, I can't see it up there, unfortunately. Number 10 is State Celesta. William Pike is aboard, coming out of barrier 11. Has won 6 races in a row, which is very, very pleasing coming into this Group 1 race. And 2 of those was at Ascot over the 1200 metres. It came from second half of the field to win last start. I tell you what, at $11 odds, that's some good value for a horse who is coming into this race with some very, very consistent form. 6 races it's won in a row. It's definitely up there in my opinion. Number 11, we have Shield Deal. Damien Oliver is aboard this horse. It has a win range of 1,000 metres to 1,200 metres, coming out of barrier 6. Wasn't the worst performance in the Darley Classic. It did come 5th out of the 12 horses and led for the early parts, but then just dropped off in that race. This distance, it should suit, no doubt about that, the 1,200 metres, and it will probably lead early, and it may be hard to catch, so you can't rule this horse out. And then finally, number 12 is Military Rain. 8th last start. Beforehand form is good, but going up a grade is the query. It is at large odds, of course, backed by the punters at $71. I think I'm prepared to leave this horse out. Okay, time now for my tips for the Winterbottom Stakes for 2016. I actually picked out about 6 or 7 chances, I reckon. It's actually a good race in my opinion, but I'm going to go Rock Magic as my winner of the race. I think this horse is in some good form coming into this race. I think its last 2 starts at this racetrack has been pretty good, and I know the likes of Terra Vista and Mel Agoura are going to be hard to beat, but I reckon this horse has the potential to do so. It's backed by the punters at $9. It has some consistent form before the last 2 runs as well, coming first, second, and second in its last 3 starts before its last 2 starts. They were all at Belmont Park. It has some good form. I think it's going to win this Group 1 race. Of course, it is going up a grade, but I think it's in some great form. Rock Magic for me. Mel Agoura, the Darley Classic winner. I'm going to put that horse at second. Had a good run in the Darley Classic. It was a great run. Barrier 1 on the inside, a little bit of a query whether it can handle that particular position and do well, but I think this horse will do very well. It is the one to beat, as I mentioned. I think it will come second, and then I've put Terra Vista in as the 3rd place horse. It's coming to Ascot in second up in its second return race, of course. Its last race was its return from its 251-day spell. It is one of the old favourites, of course. It's been up there with the likes of Tataka and so forth, and it should do well, but I think it's going to come 3rd. And then my roughie of the race, it was really out of State Celesta and also Shield Deal. I've decided to go State Celesta. I think 6 races in a row it's won. 2 of those have been over the 1200 metre distance at Ascot. They've been decent races. Of course, this is a race that is going up a grade in, which is going to be the test, I suppose, for it. But I think it's one of the main chances, and I think at $11, I think that's really good odds for this horse. So I think this horse is my roughie of the race. Of course, Shield Deal you could probably chuck in there as well. I think you can't go past that horse either. But State Celesta, some very good form in my opinion. Some good local form at Ascot and Belmont Park. Coming out at barrier 11 is an okay barrier. I think it's in with a shot. I think it's a good $1 each way bet, or a couple of dollars each way bet in its value, I think. And that is it for this episode of the Big Group 1 Racing Show, where I've previewed the Winterbottom Stakes for 2016, second Group 1 race of the Ascot Racing Carnival. I will be back next week with the last episode of the year for the Big Group 1 Racing Show. In fact, it's the last Group 1 of the year. It is the Kingtown Classic at the Ascot Racecourse, the last Group 1 to finish off the Ascot Racing Carnival, which has been wonderful so far. Of course, the Railway Stakes was a brilliant race last week. I'm sure the Winterbottom is going to be the same. But yeah, pretty sad. The last Group 1 of the year will be next week, and I will have a preview of that race on the Big Group 1 Racing Show next Friday. So don't forget to subscribe to get that episode to your news feed. I hope you back a winner in the Winterbottom Stakes, and until then, I'm Jacob. Bye for now.